Chris, on your front row.
In general, can you just talk about the defensive back group, specifically the safeties, and what they put together this preseason?
Oh yeah, I think that group is working hard. The grind of training camp. I don't think it's getting to them. I think we approach every day probably the same, just trying to get better. That's the objective. I like the growth. I can see it. I can see from spring ball to now, and I'm pleased with where we're at. I mean, we still got a long way to go, but I'm pleased with where we're at.
We'll go to Ira, third row.
When we talked to Coach Norvell last week, he was saying that there's still a couple positions still being worked through in competition. Is that okay? Would you rather have clearly defined, like this is the guy, or how comfortable are you with that kind of process?
Oh, I like where we are. It'll come down to the wire who will go out first. But in general, defenses probably play a lot of people, maybe more than the offense. So I'm really looking for guys that I can trust to put in the game, rather than worried about who's the starter and that sort of thing. But I like where we are, and again, it'll come down to the tape.
We'll go Liam, second row.
What has KJ Kirkland done? We've heard a lot over the course of camp. Just what is it that he's really done to kind of take that next step in this defense?
I think he's grown. I think he's grown maturity-wise. I think his mental capacity inside the defense, his intelligence. I've seen his confidence grow. We work on our technique, a different technique probably every day, and I see him applying taking the Indy to the field, taking the meeting room to the practice field, and I like where he's at. He's a big, imposing guy that can cover, so I like where he is.
We'll come back to Chris on the front row.
How much do you guys cross-train guys at safety, in the sense of, like, do you move an Ashland Barker around from one spot to another, or do you try to kind of keep them at one spot and learn that spot?
Yeah, I try to feed him with a fire hose. I'm putting him in all of the spots because it's always next man up, and the next man should be the best man for the job, not just the next man in line, if that makes sense. So we always cross-train him, and this guy needs to know all three positions so that, if he ever needs to in a pinch, he can.
Ira?
When a new staff comes in, I know there's some guys that maybe have started in the past or played more snaps in the past, and it seems like you guys have taken a pretty clean slate to that.
Right.
How have the older guys responded to that? And have you seen the young guys maybe take leaps because they don't feel like they're behind somebody?
Yeah. In general, new staff, old staff, I think every year is a different year. You have guys that grow, and young guys typically take the biggest step in their second year. So every year is a different year. I think every day is a different day. It's always good to have veterans, people who have played in football games. So that's a plus. But they got to come and earn it every day. I have to come and earn it every day. We all do. That's how life goes, in my perspective. So I think the group has embraced that. There's no pouting. We don't have overconfident players. We just got humbly confident guys that just attack every day and try to go be the best.
Anything else?
Yeah.
All right.
Specifically, Shaheem's a guy that has played so much college football. I'm sure there's value on that, but you guys obviously challenged him. So how has he dealt with that? Have you seen him responding the way you guys hoped?
Absolutely. I'm very hard on Shy. I have high expectations for him. I think he's responded to the challenges that myself and the rest of the coaching staff have presented to him, and to his credit, he's just showed up every day, no complaining, no any of that, just coming with a workman attitude, and I can see his progress. I'm pretty proud of him, where he is from where he was when I got him. So I think he's playing good football right now, and it's working.
Liam?
A guy like Earl, his growth, especially in how last season went, making that transition back to a more comfortable position in safety for him. Just what have you seen personally since arriving here with him?
Growth. I've seen growth. I've seen him get more comfortable, which his work ethic allows him to be comfortable and confident, and I've seen that, and I like where he is. I give him something to work on every day so he can be very deliberate about it. I give him all of that, but you can see it. He does everything right, and now it's just time to go put it on the field.
Chris?
Of the freshman defensive backs, who specifically with you at safety, and how have they done?
freshman defensive backs and how have they done?
Yeah, specifically at safety, what do you?
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of newcomers. You know, Max Redmond, he got here in the spring, and to watch him from spring to now, I could see him coming into his own. In the beginning, you know, it's hard to be confident. It's a whole new world coming from high school to college, so, you know, he was a little bit trying to figure that whole thing out. I would say AJ Cromartie is a guy who I'm really excited about. He's a lot like Earl. He just does everything that you ask him to do, and he's working at it. His mom and dad did a really good job with him as a human. I'm excited about him. What other freshmen do we have? I think.
Zay Thomas, but I think he's at.
Oh yeah. I mean, Zay is progressing, you know, but he's in the corner room. But you know, those guys, they figure it out at different times. You can see when they do figure it out. When the light comes on, you can see it in their play and how they walk, how they talk. You know, when they get comfortable, you can see it. But I think they're working toward it.
Ira?
Does Shamar go back and forth, or is he strictly corner?
Dude, yeah. No, he's a corner.
Okay.
He could absolutely play safety, but he's a corner, and he just like those guys. I can see the wheels starting to slow down, and the game's starting to slow down for him, and his confidence is getting better, and he makes plays, and he's working.
Ira?
Edwin, not to ask you too much about the past because you weren't here, but Edwin flashed at times in the past, like special teams, and when he got some opportunities. What's the difference between being a guy who does that versus a guy who's got to be out there every play? And like, have you seen him start to?
The difference, okay, so coaches, we're a little bit timid sometimes. We want guys who are consistent, and we tend to not feel comfortable putting the guys out there that are not. So like a flash player, you know, you can have really high ups, and like Coach Norvell calls it Twitter plays, but day in and day out, I just need to see Ed be the same guy as best as possible. And I don't need him to be perfect every day, but I need him to give his best every day, and I need him to be intentional. And to his credit, I will say he has, and he's a very talented player. I think we have a talented group, but as a coach, it kind of rubs me the wrong way when we say you have a talented player. I want him to say he is a well-coached player. He's a disciplined player. He's a hard-working, tough player. All the things that really don't have much to do with talent. So I think Ed is in the right place mentally, and I can see his growth day to day, and it's just a matter of stacking good days, his best days, whether that's 70% of him, just give me all 100% of the 70, if that makes sense.
Anything else? All right, thanks, Coach.
No doubt.
Thank you.